Okay, standing on the first of the digital ones, I'm gonna make sure that this page is, cleared and back to the default sound. So this is going to be a bass drum, right? And some of the controls, we already know them if you watch the analog section. So you get your tune control, so you can change the tune of your bass drum function, and by moving this, you just can control, the different pitch. Now, if I go all the way down on this ones, and maybe I'm gonna go all the way down on this and all the way down on this, we're gonna talk about this in a minute. Then you have your decay, which is gonna be how long your kick is going to be, and then you have your pitch sweep. So this will, if I go all the way down, we can see the fundamental of your bass drum right there. So we need a little bit of sweep just to make it sound a little bit more natural. If I go up, we can see the sweep, and as we keep going up, we're just gonna get, more noticeable and noticeable and noticeable. And you can go really up, right? Right. So pretty simple controls. Again, if you watch the analog section, all of this is just super simple. Now you get a punch, and this one is a new one. So the punch, what it will do, it will add distortion. It will distort the sound. So if I play it, if you take a look at the oscilloscope, we just get a sine wave. It's a very smooth kick. So when I turn this on, it's going to change that sine wave to something really crushed. It's going to chop pretty much everything. So now it just looks like a square wave, right? So this is what the punch is going to do, is a distortion. Now this could be called distort instead of punch, but they went with punch, so that's fine. But this distorts, just crushes everything. Up to here you have the main control, and then of course you get your overdrive, which is a little bit way different than distortion. Notice that we are just not clipping and chopping the sound. So then you get the other controls, which are going to be the S mod, then the T mod. So this one is going to be a square mod. And it's essentially what it does is going to modulate the fundamental tone with some, frequency modulation. And he's going to do it with a square, and this one is going to do it with a triangle and some feedback. So first I'm going to be going here. Now the envelope really matters because the envelope controls how the modulator will modulate the, the default sound, the carrier. So if we do something short, then I'm going to maybe do something like that. So I'm going to be playing it, and we get something, very simple, something like that. Now, as soon as I go up on this one, you're going to see that we are introducing some frequency modulation, so the kick is going to start going really aggressive because we have a lot more harmonics with the square. And again, as we go up, now we get a much more aggressive kick. Okay, so if I play it, now we can see on the oscilloscope, it's kind of a freezing the sound. This is what we get when we go really up. This is like the waveform of the kick. As I go down, it's gonna be a little bit mild, it's not gonna modulate it so hard. Still gonna do it, but not that hard. So this is the part where we need to talk about the envelope. The envelope will decide how that modulation will affect, the oscillator number one, the main sound, the carrier. So if I make it the envelope really short, it's going to affect the initial part of the waveform. Because as I keep going down, it's just affecting the first part, and then everything else gets, still remains smooth. But if I make it really hard, it's just gonna do everything super hard. So this is a tiny, a nice way to control the initial part of the kick if you want to really distort it, and then everything else stays smooth, the tail of the kick. Now I'm gonna go down on this one, and then we need to talk about the T mod. Now the T mod is the same as this one. We use modulation, but this one is gonna do it with a triangle. And for now, I'm just gonna go all the way up on the envelope. So when we go up, it's the same process in this one, but now instead of doing it with the triangle, with the square, we do it with a triangle, right? And we can see it right there. Now on this one, at some point when we cross over, we do too much, is going to start doing more and more, and we introduce feedback. This has feedback built into this, and when we do too much feedback, we get noise. It's gonna be really noisy. But if you go down, you just use a triangle as a modulator. Going all the way up is triangle with feedback, completely different. Now, still, if you manage this, with the envelope, it's not gonna go super aggressive. You're just gonna get it at the beginning and not so much at the end. Right? Now, this is a really cool machine, really versatile machine, because you can choose a triangle, you can use feedback, you can do square, and then you get your envelope, so you can really tailor a kick and just just build the kick that you want. Now, if we keep moving forward, I'm gonna go to the SD, and now we're standing on the snare drums, right? And that's how it sounds. I'm gonna make sure that everything is just default. So it's gonna be the snare sound. Now, right here at the bottom, these ones are the modulators, and they are doing some modulation, just like the other machine we just discussed, the BD Modern. So on this one, I'm gonna go all the way down on this one, and all the way down on this. Right, it's going all the way down. And if I play it now, it's gonna be very simple. You can change the tune as much as you like. With function, you're gonna be adjusting it by octaves, and then your sweep, it works just like the kick. You decide how much that sweep is going to be. We can really hear it now. You can go all the way up, and we can see that sweep. Now we can adjust the decay, so we can really hear it. Again, you just need to fine tune it to your fundamental, and maybe it's too much. Now your punch is going to distort the sound, right? So far, it's just a very standard control. Now, the thing is that with the snare, you need your fundamental tone, and then you need some kind of a noise. So this is going to be this section. Make sure that this one is all the way down. I'm gonna talk about that one in a minute. So this one, it's MDFB. It's modulation feedback. All right, MDFB, modulator feedback. So if I go up on this one, we're gonna start, getting that noise that we want. And if you go too much, it's gonna be, pretty aggressive. So this is the feedback of the modulator. We are doing modulator. We are modulating this by default, but adding feedback will give us that noise. Now this will control how much of the modulator will affect the carrier. So if I go down, or go all the way up, it's gonna be really long, right? So maybe I just want to make it really short. And it's just gonna be a lot, a lot less aggressive. Really long, much more punchy. Right. so you need to adjust this to taste. Now I'm gonna go all the way down on the feedback so we can remove the noise and we can see what's going on right here. I'm just gonna make the decay super long. Now, so this one is the inharmonicity or something like that. Yeah, that's, you know, how it calls. So this one, what we will do, it will change the ratios, the relationship between the operators, you know, the modulator and everything else. So the thing is that it's kind of weird to explain. What this does behind the scenes is going to detune it. Think of this as a detune. So all the way down, everything sounds super harmonic. Right? Everything is on the same place. I'm going to remove the punch. Now going all the way up, still, everything sounds super harmonic, but notice that the timbre changes. Now, in all the in-betweens, it will not sound so harmonic. But this changes timbre. So now this, you can use this as a timbre control. Right? But this is how it works. So by default, again, this is a snare. So if I go to the default values, you need to adjust how much of that noise you want, you know, the amplitude of the noise. And then if you want to change the timbre, you just do it from here. You want to adjust your decay, you can do it. And then the sweep. And that's it, you know, that's how it works. You can give it a little bit more punch and just get it, you know, get it to work. If you want shorter. So a really cool machine, especially for the inharmonicity. This one really tailors the sound of whatever it is that you're trying to do. All right. Okay, so the next one is going to be the vintage one. I'm gonna stand there and just clear it so we can have, you know, the default values. And if I play it, it's gonna sound like this. Now, same as before, we have pretty much the same controls. If you notice, maybe you're gonna need to watch the SD basic first. This is pretty much the same controls. So all of them, the BD modern, the basic, and the vintage are gonna be siblings. They're just siblings. So again, I'm gonna go there. We have the tune. We can change the tune if we wanted to. We can have I'm gonna go down on this ones, and I'm gonna, let you know what's going on right here in a minute. If we play it, we just get, the kind of the fundamental. Still doing a modulation right here, but we get the fundamental. We get the sweep. Right there is the fundamental. If I move up in the sweep, maybe I'm gonna go up in decay. We can hear that sweep. The punch is gonna add distortion. But so far, super simple. It's pretty much the same thing we've been using with the other machines. I'm gonna keep the decay around there and less pitch sweep. So the inharmonicity is going to work just like the other one. I'm gonna talk about this later. Now, right here on this machine, this one is going to be the complexity. It's called frequency complexity. What is doing behind the scenes? I have no idea. Now, it's always some kind of modulation, phase distortion, or feedback, or something with noise. It's always something like that. What is specifically doing? I don't know. It doesn't say on the manual, and it could be anything really. But this is what it does. It's going to... It's going to really crush it. You notice that you get a really noisy sound. So that's what I'm telling you. It could be anything. And it's called complexity. And, you know, it goes from not so complex sound to a much more complex sound. That's pretty much how it works. And right here, you just manage your envelope. How much of this you want to do. Right? Just like the other one. And then you get the inharmonicity. But this one, you're going to be changing the timbre. Maybe I'm going to go all the way down this one. That is at the... Maybe I'm going to add a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So notice that the ratios is changing the timbre just a little bit. Maybe I'm going to go up in this one. There we go. So it changes the timbre. This is what it does. And I can recommend that you maybe watch the SD Basic to really understand what's going on right here. Right. So pretty simple. You know, I feel like I don't need to explain. This one works just like the other one. The only difference is that it's a different type of modulation and a different type of sound source. And again, all of them are just siblings. They do something different, but maybe the oscillator, the fundamental is going to change, and then the type of modulation is going to change. But the controls are pretty much the same. The next is going to be PC. Carbon, and again, this one is just like the other ones. You know, the vintage is doing this type of modulation. The basic is doing feedback, and you know, and it's just, you know, pretty much the same thing. This one is going to do a square or a triangle. So with the PC Carbon, what it does is a more linear type of modulation, right? It's just an FM. So if I go all the way down, you're going to be able to hear the fundamental. Right, and notice that the tune changes as well. It's going really down in tune. Now we can go up if we wanted to, but I'm gonna keep it down for now. Now we can make the decay really long. And as soon as you play this, notice that the modulators or the operators are just pretty much in the same space, so we get that. Yeah, we get that. So what we can do with this one, again, is the sweep. We already talked about this. If I remove it, there's no sweep. If I go up in sweep, we can see the separation between them. And it's very mild. It's not going to go crazy. And the punch is going to add distortion. Now, I'm still gonna stay on default for now. Right? And I'm going to go up in decay. So with this one, we do more modulation. If I remove it, we get less. But if I go up, we get a lot more harmonics. You know, we get a lot more. With this one, we can go really up. and we just turn this into its own thing. If we go up in pitch, we could use this as something else. And all the machines can do this, right? And maybe you could just turn it into something else. Now, if I go down in the mod depth, you get something very mild. Now, remember that with this, we just offset the operators, the ratios of the operators. So if I keep moving this, we're going to start separating them. So we can see right there on the spectrum, you know, if I move them, then I'm just offsetting the ratios. So with this, we get, you know, different timbres and we get different sounds because it's just on a different place. You know, the operators have a different ratio relationship. And again, just doing all of this, maybe I'm gonna go all the way up, do something like that. That's how it sounds. Now, all of this is just meant to be percussive. So going down in the decay and the envelope, we're gonna be getting something percussive. Now, if you go all the way down, we just get the main tone and the separation with the inharmonicity. If I go all the way down, it's pretty much nothing. All the way up, we really separate them. And you add the harmonics in between. Right, so again, all of this is just depends on what you want to do. But now, since you understand the controls a little bit better, it's just, you know, a little bit easier to do sound design. Okay, so let's go to next one. Moving forward, we have the CP Vintage. Now, this one is super cool. Now, this is a little bit different than the other ones now. If you go to the PC Carbon, is pretty much the same as the CP Vintage, as the Basic, and as the, the BD Modern. They're pretty much the same. Now, this one is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go and stand there. So right from the start, we get the body, we get a balance, and we get a spacer. Now, but still, we have the punch. It's going to do the same. If I play this, it's some claps, right? Right. So we still have the punch. If we turn it on, it's going to bring distortion. If we want to adjust the decay, it's going to make the claps a lot longer. Now, this machine has two main parts. It has a noise part and it has an FM part. Now, if I go to the valence, which is this one, is going to be noise all the way down. And if I go all the way to the other side, it's going to be the main tone, the FM tone. Which is, again, the main tone. So the combination of them both is going to give you the claps. It's going to give you the initial, the basic tone, and then the noise, and which is going to be resulting in a clap, right? So the different parts will affect, the valence and whatever it is that you do right here. Now, the body is for the FM part, for this part. And if I play it, when I go up in the body, it's going to be changing. It's going to be changing the modulation. All the way down, less modulation, it sounds a little bit darker. And if I keep going up, it's going to be more dense, and at some point, we get a lot more harmonics because we are doing more. Now, still, the envelope is going to control how much of this you do. If I go down on the envelope, we just do a tiny little bit. So you would be adjusting this to change the tone of the FM part, not the noise, right? Okay, so I'm gonna make it a little bit longer. Now then you have the other one, which is gonna be the noise side. So I'm gonna maybe go to the noise side, and I'm gonna, for now, stand right there. Now, so right here you have something called spacer. Now, what this will do, maybe I'm gonna go all the way down on the mod and all the way down on this one. And I'm just gonna stand, oh, made a mistake. Let me go back to the beginning. There we go. I'm gonna go all the way down in volume. So I'm just getting the noise part, So if I go to the space and I really go all the way down, notice what happens. So we get a clap, right? But the claps is like 3 claps. We get 1 clap, 2 clap, and then a 3rd clap. So it's like playing a clap through a very short delay. So this is what the spacer is going to do. It's going to separate the 3 claps. As I go to the center, it's going to bring them closer, and they stand right in the same spot. Still, there's a little bit of separation there. But, you know, it's pretty much the same spot. Now, when you cross over and you go to the other side, notice that it's the same thing, but it's like noise there. Well, that's going to be bit crush. It's gonna crush the claps, and going all the way up is the same separation that we had before. The first, you know, the first one, the second one, and the third one, but we are bit crushing them. But it's the same thing and then doing this, but with bit crush. That's, you know, that's how it works. So you just need to find, or whatever it is that you want to do right here, bring a blend with your original tone, and maybe just tailor your clap to whatever you want to do, you know, with the balance. Okay, so right from the start, if you go to default, it sounds like a clap. So you just can use this and adjust the separation and the decay, and just, you know, you don't need to touch all the other controls, but still, you know, you can if you wanted to. Now I'm gonna go to the next one, and the next. Next one, it's going to be the alloy one, and it's a symbol, right? So I'm going to make sure that I'm standing on the default settings, and again, it's a symbol, so it's going to sound like that. Now you can adjust the decay. Right now it's super short. If I make it super long, it sounds like, you know, really aggressive, the high frequencies, and it's supposed to be like that because it's a symbol, right? Makes sense. So you have this main controls. You have the shim, radio, and mod, and these ones are the ones that will modify the sound. So you have 2 sources, the A and the B. Now I'm going to be going down in radio, I'm going to go down in mod, and I'm going to go down in shim. If I play this, that's the fundamental sound. That's what we get. Now, the two sources, the A and the B, are going to be changed in some fashion. Now, the shim is going to offset the tune of the B, I'm sorry, of the A. So if I move it, notice that it's changing the pitch. It's going higher and lower. Now, the radio is going to be the tune of the B. So if I do something like that, it's changing the ratio of the B. And just like this, you just need to tailor the timbre of whatever is that symbol that you're trying to create. Right now, it's just super long, the decay. I'm going to do something like that. Going up in pitch of the A and then the B. All right, pretty simple, right? So the A and the B. Now then you can do mod. So the mod, of course, is going to bring a lot more to the table because you're doing modulation, frequency modulation. And the envelope is going to decide how that modulation is going to happen. If you want to do just a tiny little bit, or you want to go, all the way in. All right, it's a pretty cool symbol generator. Now, this can create a lot of different sounds, not just this, right? Since you can go up in tune, you can go really up or really down, and you can even use it as something else. Now, it's a really cool engine. Okay, so we finally begin with the